Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and coming up on today's show, who will the Texans end up playing in the playoffs? We already know they won the division. Now we look at who they could possibly face in the wild card round, and I'm going to break down who the Texans match up best, because I've kind of switched my opinion in the past 48 hours. I've been flip-flopping back and forth on who I want the Texans to face in the first round. But let's look at the AFC playoff picture as it stands today after the Monday Night Football madness, which really didn't affect the AFC at all, really. But the Chiefs have that number 1 seed, 13-1. Bills have the 2 seed, 11-3. And then you have the Steelers at 10-4, the Texans at 9-5, the wild card teams, Ravens at 9-5, Broncos at 9-5, and the Chargers at 8-6. And realistically, I think there's only 4 options of who the Texans could face in this wild card round. So if you do anything on today's show, I want you to do this. The pinned comment of today's show is, who do you want to play in round 1? Go down in the comment section right now. It's going to be the top comment on there. Let me know, do you want to face the Ravens, the Chargers, the Steelers, or the Broncos? Let me know down in the comment section. I'll be looking. I want to take a poll to see who Texans fans want to face the most. I flip-flop because before I was saying the Steelers, the Chargers maybe, but after kind of taking a second look at it, I've settled on the fact that if I could choose, if it was up to me, Jeremy Chuggs, on who the Texans faced in the wild card round, I would want to face the Denver Broncos. And it's for a couple reasons. I know all these teams are playoff teams, so they're all going to be good teams and match up somewhat well up against the Texans. But the thing that kind of stands out for this Broncos team is they have a good offensive line, but their rushing attack has not been good whatsoever. 10 rushing touchdowns on the year. That's good for 23rd in the NFL. 4.1 yards per carry. That's also good for 23rd in the NFL, and 108.4 rush yards per game. That's good for 20th in the NFL. So basically, almost bottom 10 in all of the major rushing statistics throughout the year. Their number 1 running back, Javonte Williams, he's got 461 yards on the season. I know they have more of a running back by committee there with the rookie Estime, and they have Jaleel as well. I can't remember his last name, but they kind of have a stable there of running backs, but no running back that really scares you among the 3 guys that they have in the backfield. And on top of that, they have a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. And yes, he's been really good, and we saw how C.J. Stroud, a rookie quarterback, did last year. But at the same time, if I'm looking at all the teams that the Texans could possibly face, I would much rather roll the dice on playing a guy like Bo Nix than playing any of these other 3 guys that the Texans could face. Because if it's not Bo Nix, it could be Russell Wilson, who, yes, he's older, but he still has a lot of experience on a good Steelers team. Justin Herbert, who can definitely air it out. I don't love his weapons in Los Angeles, but he is still a really good quarterback. And then Lamar Jackson, who's won multiple MVPs, who beat the Texans last year in the divisional round. So as I look at the AFC playoff picture and kind of the teams and where the stars are aligning, I think the Texans' best matchup to get to the divisional round would be to face the Denver Broncos. Just in my opinion. Once again, let me know down in the comment section who you want the Texans to face out of those 4 teams. But up next, I'll let you know who ESPN projects the Texans will face in that wild card round, and looking at the next 3 weeks for all of these teams and kind of seeing how things could shake up as we finish the 2024-2025 NFL season. But first, couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our amazing sponsors over at Prize Picks. Make your holly just a little bit more jolly with our friends over at Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. With over 5 million active members, like I said, make your holidays just a little bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to win real money action while watching your favorite sports. And you can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Oh my God, that can get you a ton of coal. That can get you a ton of coal. Or maybe if you're on the nice list, it can get you some really good presents from the North Pole. And right now, I was looking over at Prize Picks, and because of the uncertainty with Patrick Mahomes, there's not a lot on the Chiefs. I don't think there was anything on the Chiefs. So I'm actually looking at a game that impacts the Texans a ton moving forward, and that is this Thursday night football matchup this week. You should definitely stay tuned for that because it is going to be Chargers, Broncos. Life's too short to take the less. So I went the more on everything. Bo Nix passing touchdowns, give me the more. Cortland Sutton receiving touchdowns or rushing touchdowns, give me the more. Justin Herbert passing yards, and Cameron Dicker field goals made. You can use my picks or go against my picks. Just do it on Prize Picks, and you should join right now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in the month of December and more than $30 million in rewards during what they're calling Picksmas. I know I celebrate Hanukkah, but I also celebrate Picksmas over at Prize Picks. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks. $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus, folks. It's guaranteed. So get started today with Prize Picks. Run your game. So here are the ESPN playoff predictions going into Week 16. They think the Ravens are going to face the Texans. They're going to be traveling down to Houston, going down to NRG. They think the Broncos are going to face the Steelers up in Pittsburgh, and the Chargers are going to hopefully, whoever plays the Bills, I just hope this is a snow game because I personally love watching snowy football, but right now they have the Chargers, an LA team, a Cali team going up into the cold air up in Buffalo. That's what they have right there. And obviously, it doesn't take a genius to predict the Chiefs are going to get the 1 seed and get that bye. So, as we're standing right now, that's what ESPN projects. But like I said, a lot of things can change in these next 3 weeks. And especially for your Houston Texans, the first step to changing things is you got to win your next 3 games. And that starts with this Week 16 matchup up against the Chiefs. We don't know whether or not Patrick Mahomes will play, but regardless, I will be live an hour before kickoff. So join our live watch party. Subscribe today for the latest Texans news, the latest Texans rumors, and our amazing lit watch parties every single weekend. We're doing giveaways. We're having a ton of fun. It's a tailgate-like atmosphere, so you don't want to miss out. Remember, it's on Saturday. The Texans play not on Sunday, on Saturday. I know it's the same day as the college football playoffs, but hey, we're rocking with H-Town. We're rocking with the Texans. So be there, be square. Game's going to kick off at noon Central Time. So be there. Make sure you're subscribed. Turn on those notifications for our live watch party. So let's get into the next 3 weeks for some of these teams. The Steelers, their next 3 games. Week 16 at the Ravens. Christmas Day against the Chiefs. And then Week 18, the last week, they are facing the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, 3 tough games for the Steelers. And I'll break down why later on. But I think for the Texans' sake, I think you want the Steelers to lose to the Ravens in Week 16, and I'll tell you why later on, but this could be a very important game as well for the Houston Texans. Going to the Ravens schedule, obviously we just told you, Ravens, Steelers, Week 16, and then the Ravens play the Texans on Christmas, and then they finish off their schedule up against the Cleveland Dukies, a.k.a. the Cleveland Browns, in Week 18. So, like I said, kind of want the Ravens to win this game, and then obviously Week 17, we want the Ravens to lose to the Houston Texans. Am I right? And then we're looking at the Broncos schedule over the next 3 weeks. They face the Chargers. Like I said, a big game, Thursday night football this week. Other than this past Thursday night football, producer Allie, I think all Thursday night football games this year have been much better than before. And I'm hoping this is one of them. I'm hoping this is a shootout. I'm looking forward to a good game here. And I'm wanting the Broncos to go ahead and beat the Chargers so that the Broncos can get that, 6th seed in the AFC. And then Week 17, Broncos face the Bengals. Last week, Broncos face the Chiefs. And here is the Chargers' remaining schedule. Thursday night football up against the Broncos. Then they're actually playing producer Allie's Patriots in Week 17, and they finish off the regular season going up against the Las Vegas Raiders, which we all know they're tanking for Shador at the moment. So a lot can happen over the next 3 weeks. I showed you all the scheduling. I showed you where we're sitting at right now, and I think the perfect scenario for the Texans, and for me as a Texans fan, would be the Texans getting the 3 seed and the Broncos getting the 6 seed. Because in that instance, the Texans face off against the team that I would prefer them face off against, the 4 teams that are available. And then if the Texans are a 3 seed, there's a small possibility that you could get another home playoff game. If the cards somehow fall that way, you could somehow end up with another home playoff game if you are the 3 seed. I think it's much more likely in that instance than if you are the 4 seed, then you could, end up not getting a home playoff game. So I really want a couple things to happen. Like I said, I want the Broncos to beat the Chargers on Thursday Night Football. And then I want the Ravens to beat the Steelers on Saturday, and then obviously turn around and lose to the Texans on Christmas. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, like I said, step number 1, for all of this master plan to go down, the Texans must beat the Chiefs on Saturday. So as I said before, hit that subscribe button. Go down and smash it for daily Texans videos, and make sure you're here for our watch party on Saturday, as we are going to get loud. We are going to get proud for the Houston Texans. They already have the division title. Now let's get some better playoff seeding, and let's gain some momentum going into the playoffs, because I want this team to make a run at it this year. You have a good squad. You have a great defense. CJ Stroud year 2. I know the offense hasn't looked fantastic, but now it's time to get on the right track. Let's build this thing. Hey, in H-Town, let's start a party going to New Orleans this year. Am I right? Make sure you're subscribed and stick along for the long ride.